Yes, master.
This week we have top 5 dark side territory battles, Zetas. Now this is pretty relevant because we just had a dark side territory battles, so we're just going to kind of dive into what are the best Zetas for dark side territory battles for the future. So if you guys don't have any of these Zetas, you should start working on it. But our number 5 dark side territories battles Zeta is Emperor Palpatine. Why is Emperor Palpatine's leader such an essential Zeta for dark side territory battles, Maurice?
Well, because it applies to both Empire and Sith characters. So, you go in there and you have to platoon this character, that character. It really can mess up any pre-made teams you have. But if you get that lead on Palpatine, Zeta, you can kind of just pick and choose from your leftover Empire and Sith and make a decent squad out of it. I mean, even characters like Asajj and some of the lesser used characters, you can throw them behind a Palpatine lead and they're usable. It's number 1 in arena. Everyone knows what it does. Just feeds massive turn meter. I mean, just all Empire and Sith characters are generally, pretty debuff oriented. And as soon as those debuffs expire, Palpatine's lead feeds turn meter to both of the factions. Just very good. AoE shock. Just the character itself is fantastic.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
He's the best Empire leader in the game, even with Grand Admiral Thrawn there. And what I'm trying to say is the main benefit of Palpatine Zeta is that you can utilize him in multiple different ways. So, for example, if you're stuck with him as a leader for your Empire squad, because in some cases they choose like the leader for you. So like you have to choose like Vader or something like that earlier on. I forget which. That was before. I think now you can actually choose whoever you want as leader. But I know that there's certain ones where they select a leader for you. But if you don't have to use Palpatine as a lead, you get away with kind of saving him for a dark side battle. You can use him with your Sith. So, the leader kind of works both ways for you. It can give benefits to both squads. So you could have him as a leader of your Sith team with Sion and Nihilus, and kind of save him for another battle. For dark side battles, if you don't have, let's say, a First Order team or a Night Sister team or something like that to use, but otherwise, he's a fantastic leader for the Empire as well. And being that you need the Empire so frequently in dark side territory battles, he's obviously one of the go-to guys to start off with as far as the Zeta is concerned. But that is our number 5. Dark Side Territories Battles Zeta. Our number 4 Dark Side Territory Battles Zeta is Bossk. So, Maurice, why did you pick Bossk here?
Their leadership ability. It's probably the best bounty hunter lead. And we have to use the bounty hunters for the special missions. There are combat missions that require bounty hunters. And this is probably the best lead. It makes him much tankier, harder to kill. Makes it a little easier to get through 4 waves of some of these battles. Recovering health and protection. Has a great contract. It gives 50 speed for the rest of the battle, which you can. If you do it properly, you can easily get the contract within the first, if not the second, phase of the battle, wave of the battle, and you can just go into that 4th phase. With 50 extra speed on all the rest of your characters. So that's nice. Just a great character, and he's farmable now. So people are starting to get him 4 and 5 star up high enough to where you can use him in the territory battles, and he's definitely worth the investment.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yes. In a nutshell, there's 2 battles where you need to have bounty hunters in dark side territory battles. And there's no better leader for the bounty hunters than Bossk. And Bossk, being a tank as well, gives you an added layer of protection for the squad. He also has a fantastic ability to call and assist. And just overall is one of the tankier options, which is really what you want in a dark side territories battles, because the one fear you have is, let's say, coming up against some elites that might be able to overwhelm you and take you out of the battle. Which is probably going to be less likely to happen with a tanky character like Bossk. kind of protecting the way for your team. So he's a huge addition to the Bounty Hunter faction, and can definitely benefit you in both the earlier Bounty Hunter special mission and the later Bounty Hunter special mission as well. So he's a fantastic addition, and definitely a necessity to get that Zeta on him if you want to get the full potential, of his abilities. And he's the best leader right now for the Bounty Hunters as well. I know some people think it's Boba Fett, and some people maybe even think it's Embo. Now that Embo's out, but I'd have to say Bosk, in my opinion, is still number one. But that's our number 4 Dark Side Territory Battles Zeta. Moving along to number 3. Who do we have here, Maurice?
Let's see. Who do we have at number 3? Number 3, I believe, is going to be Crew. We just saw him in these demonstrations you've been doing. Just a great. I mean, his leadership is amazing. It's one of the best overall leads in the game, and there are multiple first order characters now. And again, if you have to platoon, Phasma and your first order TIE Fighter, you can platoon a few and just throw whatever you have left behind the crew lead and have a good chance of succeeding in any of the combat waves. I use first order and Night Sisters, all the way across the board, because a lot of these platoons are real Empire heavy, so first order is a great option, much like Finn and Resistance for your light side territory battles. Just a great non-Empire faction to use and reliable for the entire 6 phases of the Dark Side Territory battle.
Yeah, I agree. He has one of the most bonkers leader abilities in the game, I think. And the only reason that he's not really more used, I think, is that there's still a missing component to the First Order squad. Again, every time Kylo Ren on Mask comes up, I talk about Supreme Leader Snoke and how he should be in this game. And if he was, I think, as a support character or even as a leader, I think you'd see more and more Kylo Ren unmasked out there, especially if he had some 6 support abilities for, let's say, First Order, calling in, assist or healing the team, or, who knows. But, I mean, I think that's, they're just missing one kind of piece or 2 kind of pieces that would keep them from being a fantastic squad. They really have a lot of good components. First Order Stormtrooper is fantastic. First Order Executioner is fantastic. So I think that they're missing like 1 or 2 pieces to really make them a meta squad out there. But his leader ability with the crit damage and the ability to give speed. I mean, that's just bonkers. Getting 30 speed plus 40% crit damage out of a leader.
Yeah, and you get turn meter from critting and all sorts of stuff. Just packed full.
It's just like a bounty hunter. It's like a Boba Fett lead with a Qui-Gon Jinn lead and an HK-47 lead, like mixed into one.
Yeah,
it's bananas. So I mean, yes, if there was some other pieces to that team, I think they'd be one of the better teams out there. Yeah, and maybe Hux, absolutely. Toyota, I agree. Hux would be a cool addition too, if they added that to the team. Who knows? I mean, obviously there's another movie coming, so we'll have to see what happens. But that's our number 3 Dark Side Territories battles Zeta. Moving along to number 2. The number 2 Dark Side Territory battle Zeta in the game is Asajj Ventress. So, why we got her here?
Same thing, pretty much as Crew. Just the Night Sisters are unbelievable in Dark Side Territory battles. I mean, if you had to pick one of the 2 factions to focus on, I would definitely focus on the Night Sisters. Just, again, if you have to platoon a few of your Night Sisters for this area and this area, you can throw what you have left behind an Asajj lead. Just, turn meter reduction every time they fall below, 100% health. They get turn meter themselves, a speed lead, extra offense, just everything you need to succeed in Dark Side Territory battles. And not to mention just a super powerful kit. I mean, you get the AoE going and you can just clear the whole phase, the whole wave in like some of the earlier phases of the Dark Side TB. her lead makes a lot. Perhaps I'm a homer, but I mean, for this particular game mode, it's fantastic.
I agree 100%. I mean, the Asajj Ventress lead is almost essential for Darkside territory battles if you don't have the Mother Talzin lead, and either which way you go, I think that you're going to be okay. I do think that you get more bang for your buck from the Ventress lead overall, but this is a team that you could basically run if well geared on auto and all the way through phase 6 and get your win. So if you have a well geared Night Sister team with, let's say, Asajj Ventress, Mother Talzin, you know, I'd say Old Daka, Night Sister Acolyte, and let's say Night Sister Zombie, or Night Sister Spirit and Night Sister Zombie, I think you're getting an easy auto victory in Darkside territory battles with this team all the way into phase 5 or phase 6. I don't know if you want to risk it on phase 6, maybe for the first couple of rounds or first couple waves, but then when you get into the last wave there in phase 4 or wave 4, you may want to, you know, go ahead and you know, control it by hand. But you can basically auto your way to victory with that team, and anytime you can do that with a squad, especially in a phase that takes you sometimes, you know, 20 to 30 minutes to complete out of your day, in addition to doing arena and ship arena and any challenges and events that you have to do, plus doing your dailies and any raids or anything like that that you have to do. Obviously, being able to have a team that makes it a little bit easier for you is a tremendous value, and Asajj Ventress' Zeta definitely does that. That's for sure. So that's our number 2 Darkside territory battles, Zeta. Moving along to number 1, Maurice. Who do we have here, buddy?
General Veers. This will be the only time General Veers probably makes number 1 on any list. But that Zeta is just fantastic. It's required for Darkside TB, and then maybe not him in particular, but almost every single phase of Darkside TB requires at least Snow Trooper, right? So I mean, if you have to use Snow Trooper, let's just go ahead and make a whole Imperial Trooper team, put Veers in the lead, and it shines in this game mode. It's mandatory for that P6 special mission. You have to have it. That mission is pretty tough, and I don't know if I would be able to do it without that Zeta. It's a great Zeta, and you know, we're getting range trooper soon, so your Imperial Troopers are probably going to get a lot better with the inclusion of that character. This is a nice Zeta to have, and kind of the only Zeta you really need on an Imperial Trooper team to make it viable in Darkside TB and also TW. You got that Veer Zeta, you can kind of build a team behind it. So
I can't wait for Range Trooper. That's going to be so exciting. I love the Range Trooper character. He adds so much value to the Imperial Troopers, and I think he'll be a great addition to Darkside territory battles also. So we'll get talking about him when he becomes a little bit more readily available. But talking about Veers, he just adds another layer of viability to the Imperial Trooper squad with this Zeta. And aside from the Darkside territories battles value, there's also a territory wars value here to this Zeta that basically allows you to almost you know, annihilate any Night Sister squads that you come across in territory wars. So having you know, the full Imperial Trooper squad with this Zeta on Veers can basically, you know, help you get through a lot of battles and territory wars also. So it's kind of a double bang. It gives you, you know, some good value there. And on top of that, it's required. I mean, this is a character that you're going to have to use several times in Darkside territory battles, and that Zeta is almost a necessity in order to get through those phases and those waves. So, I mean, I would say, you know, this is probably going to be one of the first, if not the first Zeta that you put on a character for Darkside territory battles, just because it comes up so frequently, and it's part of the special missions, so you need it. And your guild is going to be upset if you don't do it. So you have to. This is one of the first Zetas I did when Darkside territory battles came around. And at that time, there weren't really a lot of great Imperial Trooper characters, and I mean, besides maybe Snow Trooper and characters like that. But yeah, I really wasn't working on an Imperial Trooper team per se. I just did it because, you know, obviously it was a necessity, and it's one of the things you had to do for your team. You know what I'm saying? So I was glad to get it done, and now that I have it done, you know, I can see the tremendous value in it, you know, for you know, things to come as well, especially like Maurice said, as we get a range trooper. So looking forward to that. That's our #1 Dark Side Territory Battles Zeta. We do have an honorable mention as usual, and this week's honorable mention for Dark Side Territory Battles Zetas is Imperial Probe Droid. So why did you choose him for the honorable mention this week, Maurice? Well, I wouldn't say him. I'd probably have to say it.
All right, sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped there for a second. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So, why did we choose Imperial Probe Droid as the honorable mention?
Well, it's if you use it carefully, there's a lot of cleansing mechanics in the Rebels have a lot of cleansing mechanics, but they also have a lot of buffs, and the Zeta on this prevents any target locked enemies from buffing themselves. So there's going to be no foresight. There's going to be no taunting, for instance, from the soldiers. It will prevent a lot of the buffs that they do. Like, you know, the spies, they'll go stealth, they'll give themselves defense up. Just prevents all that, makes it just much easier. And I never try. I have this Zeta, but I never tried the P6 mission without it. But the general consensus, or at least what I've been hearing, is it is much easier, that P6 special mission, with the IPD Zeta. So, just one to think of. And unfortunately, with all the Gear 12 Plus pieces, and you know, we got stronger mods coming, his self-destruct is kind of losing some of its value, as it can't kill characters anymore. But still a very good character. AoE Dispel, which is always useful with the target lock. So
that's why he deserves an honorable mention. He's not #1, but it does add a lot of value in that regard. The Zeta is you know, tremendous, especially for certain waves. I mean, for example, you know, throughout the course of the battle, I mean, you're going to be target locking enemies, you know, with Probe Droid, also, you know, preventing these rebels who pretty much live off buffs from getting any buffs. So it's a tremendous Zeta in that it's preventing, you know, taunt, you know, for some of these characters that are going to be taunting. It's preventing, you know, a lot of different things across the board, and especially for a faction that pretty much lives off those buffs. You know, it's going to be you know, a much easier battle with this Zeta, and I think it's essential, you know, for the last special mission as well in Dark Side Territory battles. Some of us may not be there yet, but when you do get to that point in Dark Side Territory battles, it's going to probably be pretty much an impossibility to get through that portion of it without this Zeta. So it's definitely something you want to look into and start thinking about now, as far as allocating Zetas is concerned, unless you're working on your arena team or something like that first.
Yeah, this Zeta should not be one of your first, you know, 20 Zetas. But if you've been playing a while, you know, this one's an option. You know, like we talked about Veers, we talked about Probe Droid. I mentioned Snow Trooper. I think there's Vader in Dark Side TB. Like any character and these characters are the, you know, the required characters of the game mode. They'll never be in platoons, right? So, I mean, that alone gives them a little extra value, because they'll always be available for you to use. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yep. But that's
yes, Robbie. Yes, droids become viable. Yeah, he'll be great when droids become meta. Yes, he will.
Yes, he will. He will, absolutely. You know, if you think about adding maybe some stacking offense onto that self-destruct, that could be pretty insane. Who knows what'll be in store for the droids in the future? Hopefully good things. But that's our top 5 Dark Side Territory Battles Zetas. That's courtesy of the Alliance, good old Maurice, and me, and we appreciate you guys checking that out. If you like that, please leave a like on the video and smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But
yes, master.